Hey everybody, and welcome back to Crypt Monkey Paints. Thanks for joining us again, and as always, Ty's on the computer over there for me. The stones are amazing. I love them so much, and these little turtles are like the cutest little thing ever. I've got them base painted in white, and I love them. They're like adorable. So we've got a whole little earthen army. I'm going to kind of focus on two of them tonight, and I've got a base kind of started going, and we'll kind of play around with that base as well. I have a few other ones set aside, so if I'm waiting for this to dry or that to dry, we can kind of play with the others. This is some models that I got off of My Mini Factory. They were free to download. So obviously these are not for sale. I don't have permission to sell these at all. What I can sell is my paint job, but you know, they're stone turtles, so I may just be painting these for myself because they're turtles. But other than that, let's get started painting. So what I started with was I got them all printed off, and I got them base coated in white, and then I kind of played around with one of the turtles already and just did a few little different shades. Basically what I did is I've got a palette of just random rock colors. These are all the kind of shades that I like. I tend to stay more to the brown and gray sides, but I definitely like adding in yellows and reds. It just gives it a really natural kind of earth tone, and I love those tones. Basically, all I do is whenever I'm doing things like this, I have a nice big palette where I've got a whole bunch of my colors out, and I pretty much just wet blend everything on to keep it kind of looking natural. One of my other favorite things to do with anything that is rock based is putting 2 to 3 different shades of green to make like mossy areas. And on the turtle itself, I'll also dry brush green hints on the skin, much more so than anywhere else, just to give it a really beautiful kind of pale green color to its skin itself. But what I want to focus on tonight is this little guy and this little guy. So this is just a earth elemental, and this is a wizard. And the wizard actually can stand directly on top of the elemental, which makes it really kind of fun. So I got out a pretty large base and just made some basic shapes with clay. And I've got that glued down, and then just a base coat of white. So the idea is, and as I was making it, let me pop him off. As I had the clay out and I was forming it, I know I'm not trying to tease, you know me. But this, I don't actually have the rights to sell it. So this one is just for me. But what I did was, as I had the clay was still malleable, I just took his feet and pressed him in. So now he has a little place he sits really, really well. And then I will put the wizard on top. And then in here, in this basin, I'm going to make a pond. So that is the rough idea of where this is going to go. But I also did a really quick little base. Get these guys screwed back on there. Where I took some flock and some just little gravel and glued it down. And it was super simple. It's a little, and we'll make another one. Thanks for the follow. Fragility. Thank you. Couldn't get that one. I'll do another base just like this when we're waiting for paint to dry, so that we can you can see me do another base that's super simple. Takes more time to clean up than it does to make the base, so I recommend doing 1 or 2 at a time. So we're going to start on our big lumbering guy first, because he's fun, and why not? He's easier to see. So basically all I'm doing is I'm grabbing some gray and a little bit of the brown. I'm not mixing my paint on my brush or anything like that because I just want it to look fairly natural. And when I'm doing rock, I tend to not brush, like normally I would do a brush stroke like that. With rock, I tend to blob it on like this instead, because then I get those color tones less uniform, I guess, is really what I'm looking for. And I'm just going to keep grabbing my paint and slapping it on. And and if you look, you can see that I didn't do a great job with base coating because I don't need to. I don't need it to hold the paint on. All I need it to do is give me a color where I won't see that gray of the print itself. And I literally just keep grabbing random colors. And this is why I like to make sure that all of my paint job is done at the same time, is because that wet blending will really help the stones to look like stones. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, there's no real wrong way or wrong color to paint a rock. There's a million different ways to do it, and there's a million different stones out there in different color tones. So really, it's whatever you like. I tend to like more of the bleached rocks, the really bright ones. I don't know why. Personal preference, I guess. And I also have some gemstone colors and some metallics over here for when I'm painting. If I get to painting, like this little turtle has a big gemstone on the top of him. So I've got a metallic blue, and then I've got a lighter tropical blue is what the name of it is, so that I can do a glow effect around the rocks that are surrounding him. And I decided to go with a really grassy kind of background for my bases, just because they're all rocks, so I want them to really stand out from the bases themselves. So last month we went to a rock shop, and I found these really beautiful they're not gems, they're just polished rocks, but they're itty bitty tiny. So what I was thinking was that would be the base of my pond over here. Have those all glued down and then set resin over the top of it. And I've got the UV resin, which stinks to high heaven, but it's really the only option I have for something like this. Normally I would use it takes a couple of days to dry sort of resin, but I wanted to be able to show it on stream. So basically what we'll do is, when I get to a stopping point with this guy, we'll set that up, and then I'll probably go on a short break whenever I cure it, just so that I make sure that the light from curing doesn't get on the camera, because it's really not good for your eyes. And I usually avoid it pretty well. But as you can see, just blobbing them around gives it a really nice natural look. Oh, that would be amazing, me, to get like a real gemstone on a mini. That would have to be like a very special mini to warrant that.
Cthulhu we're not selling.
Yes, a Cthulhu that I'm not selling, that is just for me. could put a nice big shiny gemstone in his forehead. That would be fun. Ooh, like an opal. I love opals. Pearls are my favorite to wear, but I don't really wear a whole lot of jewelry. So I did try a different method, one that I've never tried before, on painting rocks I saw online. And I've got the sample one sitting over here. I did the base coat, and then the next step I saved for doing on screen. I don't know. Not sure yet. I'll save my judgment until after I've done the next step. But it's basically you take your paints and you really, really water them down. I mean, like, you've got, 2 drops of paint to 6 drops of water. I mean, it's very, very watery. And I think I'm going to stop on him and let him dry up a little bit. But basically what you do is you just kind of put washes over to where it just kind of blends into itself. So I've got the yellows and the reds and the browns, and then you're supposed to do, once that all dries, you can see it's still trying to dry. Once that all dries, then you do a black wash over it. We'll see how he turns out. I'm going to reserve judgment. Stand up and be good. So now let's get a little base coat going on our wizard. And I'm going to take my wizard a little bit brighter than what I did the earth elemental. And also on his staff, he's got what look like crystals. So I'm going to use that gemstone blue as well for that. I'm going to keep him a little bit on the brighter side just because I want him to kind of stand out from that. I have random little... I hate how messy things look on my first coat, but they're rocks. What am I supposed to do? That's really interesting. You mixed it with rubbing alcohol instead of water, and it did dry quite a bit faster. That's interesting because I 3D print, I've got 1 million gallons of alcohol here anyway. So that's not really something that's difficult to keep my hands on. But I wouldn't have thought to mix it with rubbing alcohol. I tend to use, we do have kind of hard water here. So I tend to use distilled water, like just out of a gallon for most of the stuff that I mix with my paints. Just to keep it from being icky, basically. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of this, get his staff coated too with the gems, or with the metallic I have here. Yeah, I will do a little glow effect as well on the side of his face over here from his staff. That is way too big. Yeah, please do send me a picture. I would love to see that. Because like I said, I just watched the video the other day. It just happened to come up across my stream and I was like, cool, let me watch this. And I really love how his turned out, but I just am having trouble. Well, I mean, it was the first time I'd ever tried it. So right now I'm not really loving the effect. I mean, his turned out amazing. So I'm expecting that I just need to work at it a little bit harder, or a little bit more to get that technique down. I think it might also be the difference between, he had a very large setup that he was working on. I have another little guy over here I want to look at, because it's like almost like his beard is crystals as well. I might come back over and put that on there. But and while I have this color on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and do it on this turtle too. A real easy way to get a really nice looking gemstone is to get your paint down, and then where it's got the lines, just doing a really simple, really light shade of white over those corners, and it just gives it just makes it pop out. All right, so now we've got all the base coats done, and that is not quite dry yet. So I am going to come back over to this. So I think what I want to do before anything is paint my rocks. So I want these over here to be kind of rocky. And I made a couple of rocks, but the rest of it's going to be a grassy area. But that's going to be the last thing I do, is put the grass on. Because that stuff, it's that flocking, and it makes a mess. And I'm not worried if I hit the hillside, basically, because like I said, I'm going to kind of come back over all of that with brown here in a minute, just to get it an undercoat for where the grass is going to be. And the best part about the rocks is coming back over and dry brushing. And that's where everything just like really comes alive. I'm just going to slop some brown on because, like I said, this is all hillside. So it'll have all that flocking. I just want, if you see anything through the flocking, I want it to look like dirt. Sorry, I just completely like zoned out. I'm just thinking about my rocks. I mean, really, it's like this one was called the Earth Elemental, and then this was a rock wizard. Then I've got a stone warrior, and then there was another one that was just this little guy with a, kind of like a sword. Then you've got a bunch of little men, rock men, holding the king's what's that thing called? Throne. Oh, good Lord. So it's one of those things where it's like the designers kind of name them what they want to name them. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't really know how to answer what they are. It's, you know what, paint them what you want to paint them, and they are what you decide they are, is kind of my answer. Yeah, there's the one like this, I mean, with a little bit of green stuff, you could definitely make that into a staff. One of the really cute ones is this little guy. He's just sitting there with his hand on his head, like, he just got hit in the head or something. But the really fun thing is they actually fit in the turtles. So you can have your turtles marching along and carrying your warriors. So now they're mounted warriors. So that's my stone army. So now when somebody says, I got a rock, I'm like, well, I got a stone army, so I kick your ass. All right, now I gotta let that sit and dry. So let's see what we can play with. None of that. It all needs to dry, so I'm gonna be a good girl and I'm gonna stop touching it. So let's go ahead and make that base that I made a few minutes ago. So I always try to put something else down when I'm doing any kind of flocking or rocks or anything like that, because it makes a mess. And I've just got some PVA glue and Q-tip, because why not? Means I can throw it away and I don't make a mess. But really all I'm going to do is put my PVA glue on here, if I can get a grip on it. The plate is in the way at the moment. I don't need a plate for this part. I hate ruining brushes with my glue, so I am kind of halfway between using this and using Q-tips for my gluing, or just using my finger, or I grab an old brush that's crap anyway. All right. Sorry, I'm laughing at you guys in chat. All right, so all I have is just these little packets. I think they're from oh, Ty, help me. It's Warhammer Terrain. You can find this stuff, but with these little rocks, it's like little stones. I tend to do just a little tiny sprinkle like that. And what I'll do is, after I've got the flocking on, I'll put some more of those over the top. But the flocking, I do not touch with my fingers. I absolutely hate this stuff. It looks amazing, but I cannot stand it. It gets everywhere. So all I do is tweezers are my bestest friend ever. And I kind of just pat it on and then move it around. And as you can see, I've got it really thick on here, but I like to do it thicker than I need to. And then after it dries, I can tap it off. But if you want something to stay more packed in like this, it's a real simple solution of putting your glue, like half and half water, and then putting it in a spray bottle or a drip bottle, and you can come back over this and drip it on there. Let me close this up before I spill it. Yeah, pretty much. Flocking is the glitter of the painting world, or mini painting world. And we all know what glitter is of the art world. I won't say it because, I'll be nice. But then I'll just sprinkle a couple more to kind of be on top of that. And voila. But what I was saying about the PVA glue, or, any glue that you're using. I tend to use PVA glue. It's what I have here. But Elmer's glue works just as well. But I have a mix of half and half water, half glue. And then you can either take a dripper and drip it over this, or you can take an old beat up brush and you can just kind of let it drip in, or if you were brave enough to spritz, you can spritz. But with the flocking, I would be worried that the spritz would blow it off. But this will help hold down extra flocking. Of course, it's just getting on my paintbrush at this point and staying up. But, hey, that's okay too, because I'm going to throw this paintbrush away in a second. But what it'll do is it'll soak down through this, and it'll hold more of it on so you can have a thicker coating of grass. Anybody got any questions so far? I'm making a mess. Ah, that's not what I meant to do. But screw it. Why not? So, we're going to make that brush go away. Put my lid back on my glue, and this is going to go away because I don't want to knock it over. So I'm just going to set that one out of the way, but basically when it's dry, it'll look like this one does. And that's just a nice little thing for my rock warriors to stand on. Hey, and he is now dry enough that I can do one of two things. I think I'm going to dry brush on him first. I kind of go back and forth between whether I want to dry brush first or do my shade first. And since I want him to be darker, I'm going to dry brush first. That way, once I've dry brushed all my highlights on with the white, and then I put my shade on, it'll kind of bring everything down to one tone, but it'll bring that highlight down pretty far too. And I'll probably come back over and do it a dry brush over a little bit more as well when it's done. But what I'll do, I'll dry brush him before I do the shade, but I'll shade him before I do the dry brush, and you can kind of see the difference, even though the paint job is pretty much the exact same. A little too much still. I love rocks. We had a pet rocks in our last D&D campaign. I don't even remember what rocks was. He ate rocks, so that's why we called him Rocks, because we're super imaginative, aren't we? He wasn't an elemental. Cora, do you remember what Rocks was? They may be currently running through all of their notes to try to figure it out. I think we tricked him into getting on our ship. Well, I mean, he gladly got on our ship, but then we didn't tell him where we were going because he would not have come with us if we had told him. But then we kept feeding him metal and rocks and anything, and he loved us. We never made him fight or anything like that because we didn't want him to die. But I think if we had made him fight, he'd have been badass. So all I've done is slap random paint on here. No rhyme, no reason with the color choices other than the earth tones I had. And now I've dry brushed on with just pure white. And you can already see how quickly, I mean, realistically, we could stop right here and he would be good to go into battle. But it takes no time at all to do rocks in a very realistic way. Like, I love how like it looks like gray right there and then brown over here and the yellow's popping out over there. It's just super easy. But I am going to dry brush him with white as well, since I'm right here and he's already dry too. No. Hi, Dorky Dino. How are you? Thanks for joining. I don't know if you were going to be at the Game On KC. Were you planning on trying to go? We got the email today saying that they were going to have to postpone it, which getting out a little bit of my green so that I can dry brush the green on the turtle's skin itself. Yeah, that's disappointing. Oh, way too much paint. And yes, my hands are becoming horrific. The worst part about dry brush, like on my thumb, like what I'm doing right now, is this is going to take like a week to come off. I don't know why the dry brushing, when I clean off the dry brush, it takes so much longer for that paint than any other paint to come off. No, I understand why they did it too. It's just, it's disappointing because that was a brand new con and, you know, and it's just postponed. So, but like I sat and talked with the lady who was setting it up for quite a while, and she's really kind of awesome. So I was really looking forward to, being at a con run by somebody like that, So passionate about everything that she was talking about. I know Ty just said something about Dorky Dino in chat, and I didn't read it all, sorry.
Their website.
Oh, cool. Yes, their website. They are completely awesome, and I have a bunch of their artwork hanging around my house. While I've got this green on my brush for dry brushing, I'm going to add, not that much, I'm going to add a couple little lighter spots of green so that I can come back with this and kind of over the top and add that mossy kind of look that I want to give. Oop, let's not add to his butt right there, sorry. I think one of my favorites is still the little mushroom guys. They're sitting in my office right next to where I sew, so I get to look at them all day, every day. So when I dry brushed, I kind of hit this whole area, but when I'm taking this brighter green, I'm going to do selective and much tighter area. And I'm still dabbing my brush rather than brushing, just so that I can get that, like, almost stippling. For you actual artists out there, maybe you can answer if that's the right word to say. But moss kind of has that look to it, so. And I might even come in with a deeper green later. Get my tip back here. Give him a few little highlights. I do not have a millimeter gauge. The art question was, when I'm poking with my paintbrush, is the correct term stippling? Because I'm trying to get dots with my paintbrush rather than, and I'm using the roughed up bristles to give me tiny little dots. I remember those days of having somebody on my lap constantly. Like, can I have this? Can I have this? No. It's like for 5 years, that's the only word I knew how to say was no. There, I did toenails. Okay, I'm gonna put the turtle away. So now I'm gonna get out my wash, which, let's see, what color do I want to use? Of course, it looks like it's going to be the one that I dropped, but that's fine. I'll use this one instead. Tyler, you're such a dork. So, I'm just going to go in with my wash. I'm not being super careful, but I also don't want to just slap it on everywhere. Yeah, honestly, Ty's the one that I've got the most issue with in the grocery store. But that was really always the case. We were laughing the other day because, and Cora's going to get really upset right now. Cora had gone to bed, and Ty and I decided to run over a couple of errands, and I went and picked up ice cream while I was out. Ty and I were sitting in here eating ice cream, and Cora was asleep. And I was like, it's back when they were little, and we would wait until they went to bed before we would get ice cream or do this or do that, Kids are in bed, let's eat cookies. It's okay, Cora, it was just Dairy Queen. You wouldn't have liked it. We used to do it all the time when they were little. No, this is not good for you. Wait until they're asleep and then we eat it. Yay. Oh. I think every parent does that. You wouldn't have liked it. It's fine. They're going to come out here and smack me in a minute. Yep, here they come.
You owe me Dairy Queen.
I do not owe you, Dairy Queen. Okay, it's up to the stream. If you guys think that Cora deserves ice cream, then go ahead and vote in the chat whether or not we should go get ice cream for the kids tonight. We used to have, when our kids were little, because keep in mind, our kids, there's 3 years between the 3 kids. So we had 3 in diapers. And we used to have friends come over, and they was like, every time we come over because we you know, like, oh man, I want to have a family someday. Then we come and visit you, and then we don't. I'm like, yep, that's about right. Not that my kids were horrible children or anything. I don't see Izumi speaking up, so I'm assuming they're not watching tonight. But all I'm going to say is 3 times. 3 times. Haircuts. I don't know why you're laughing. I still get angry about the haircuts. Oh, I totally want to punch you for laughing right now. All right, so now the difference of I'm going to go ahead and get him all coated in this, and then I'll dry brush him after. Yeah, at one point, Cora had a spot that was like this big, that was a bald spot on the top of her head. And Isabella managed to give herself a mullet right before school started. Fun times. Yep. I don't think I'll ever find that funny until they have children and they do it to them. Then I will be laughing my ass off and making sure I have photos to, you know, plaster on the wall. Keep in mind while you guys are voting for Cora to get ice cream, I'm pretty sure that one of the haircuts, it was Cora's idea to try to glue it back on. Have you ever seen a 6-year-old girl with a mullet? This conversation completely got derailed. Of course, you know, if Ty wants to sit there and giggle, I can have him come over and tell my favorite story of when our kids were little. But, Daddy, I didn't say the F word. Oh my God, it was hilarious. It was like the best thing ever. All right, Ty's come over and he's going to tell the story.
It's not the best story. It was the worst.
It's the best story ever.
So our oldest, Isabella, comes into the room and says, Daddy, Nick said the F word. And Nick's standing behind her crying, saying, Daddy, I didn't. I didn't say the F word, and he said it.
Yeah, he didn't say the F word. He said word.
He said the F word. And I'm like, oh, okay, stop. But you just said it just now. You just said the F word. No, Daddy, I didn't say it. And he just kept saying it and crying and saying the F word over and over and over again. And I couldn't get him to stop. It was awful.
Was the funniest thing in the world. I was absolutely dying. I couldn't even help him because I was laughing so hard. And he's just like begging him to stop saying it. And Nick just keeps saying, but I didn't say bleep. But I didn't say it, Dad. I didn't say bleep. Ty's just...
Stop talking.
Yeah. Oh, it's so awesome. My favorite is still how a child can go from angelic to demonic just by simply waking up. That's all it takes. Just wake up. And I'm there. Okay, so paint is almost dry on that. Paint is wet on that. And wet on that. So I am absolutely stuck on anything I can do at the moment. All right, so I think that's probably dry enough to play with this a little bit. So I'm thinking what I want to do is a little riverbed or, you know, pond bed of these. Get them in there. Yeah, that's about how that goes, isn't it? Every single time, Dorky. Like, I have a rule that my kids can't use. I mean, mine are all adults now. My youngest is Cora, who's begging for ice cream. But even they're 19 now. God, it's crazy. But I have a rule. You can't cuss in my house until you pay your own rent. Or you can cuss, but you can't drop the F-bomb. So I think Isabella moved out, and the day she signed her lease, walked back in and just yelled the F word because she could. All right. These are sticking to my fingers, so I'm going to use my paintbrush to kind of push them down where I want them. Let's see, that'll be fun, don't you think? Yeah, I like how that looks. Okay, so now it's going to be stinky resin time. And the only other thing I want to do before I do that is get a little bit more clay out and get this malleable. And I'm just going to make kind of a line right here with the clay to keep it from spilling over. This way we can kind of catch anything. There we go. All right. So I'm just kind of building myself a little dam. Turn it around so I can see the other side. Move. There it is. I got it a little too far over. You could use hot glue for this part too, which I have done quite a bit in the past. Cora, I don't think you're going to get the votes for it, kid. All right, super stinky time. And it's just UV resin. Like I said, I would normally use regular resin because I'd have the time to let it just sit off by itself. But I wanted to be able to do this. Just nice and slow. Blech. It's like the faster the resin is going to cure, the stinkier it has to be. I don't know how that works with the manufacturing, but it seems just how it is. All right, we are going to take a short little break. I think this should probably take no more than, I don't know, what do you think, Cora, 3 minutes? So 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that, just to get this to cure up so we can move on to the next step. And we'll be back. So I think it is all cured. It took a little bit because the top layer cured on me, but then the bottom layer or underneath wasn't curing, and it was like sticking to the clay. And if you look really closely, you can see a bubble where it kind of pushed out a little bit. But I think we're there. I think we've basically got it. I'm gonna have to do a little cleanup. But it looks really cool. Ugh, I don't like the feel of that on my fingers. So we have our little pond. Ugh, I got it on my fingers. But other than that, so we're gonna let that sit for a little bit now. It still stinks though. I really, really hate that. But our little wizard is ready for dry brushing. Get my white going again, using my hand as always. Ty hates that. He hates it so much. It's so funny. And get him all brightened up and rocky looking. We'll be ready to flock the base fairly soon, and then glue him on top of his little guy. I'm thinking about adding a little bit of grass to the big guy. Don't forget, we have until the end of stream tonight to get the rest of those things, anything you've made this week, posted in Discord. I don't know, maybe they need a little bit extra motivation to get something posted real quick. Hey, Cora, you want to go grab the mini downstairs? I just have a little bit of fairy dust. Sorry, my nose is itching. Warhammer fairy dust effects paint. I'm just going to hit right on his beard only, just to give it a little extra. I'm going to give his face a little extra love. So I'm going to take just my white and my lighter brown, kind of mix those. It could be absolutely anything. I have no rules about what the creation is, but if we get, what do we need? 3 more? If we get 3 more posts, I will be giving away this. You want to switch to the big one for a minute, babe?
Yeah.
Is it in focus? So, yeah, not exactly small. But the winner of it can decide painted or unpainted. It is a Forest Guardian, is what it's called. But she is absolutely spectacular. I still need to sand the bottom of her. She's a little rough. But, yeah. That's what's up for grabs, guys. My tip back here.
Everybody was enjoying that. I forgot to put you back on your main screen.
Oh, sorry.
I was sitting here chatting about that.
I didn't even look at. I hadn't even looked up. I'm glad that everyone enjoys the top of my head. It looks awesome, doesn't it?
My bad. Sorry.
Hey, oh, what can I say? You get what you pay for. So what I did was I dry brushed over the crystals on his staff. So I got those white lines. My eyes are watering from that smell. Ugh. So I'm just going back around the other edges and kind of deepening where I don't want those lines to be at. Okay, so he's done. I have to clean that edge up in a little bit. But I am going to get my glue back out. I'm just going to go around this and put glue where I want the flocking to go. That's the good thing about using this kind of glue is water soluble, so I can just wash it away. And probably what I'll end up doing to clean up this edge over here is I'll take a razor knife along that edge, that rough edge, and kind of smooth it out. And then I'll glue individual rocks that, like what we put underneath. I'll glue those down around the outside, and it'll kind of clean that edge up even more. Man, that looks messy. Ooh, found my trash can. And time for tweezers again. It's like I'm almost afraid to talk while I'm doing this because I'm afraid I'm going to get it in my mouth. Ty says the ring design is really pretty. Ugh, no. I'm terrified this is going to get in my face. I do regret that the fan is going right now, to be honest. So the real fun part is going to be tomorrow whenever this glue, I know this glue is completely set, and I'm going to take it outside and try to blow it off. I think I'm going to wear a mask when I do that. Okay, it is all flocked up. Hopefully it was on screen most of the time because I feel like I kept peeling it more toward me. One more, guys, one more thing, and then she gets to go to a new home. Yay, roar. All right, Really, I'm just brushing the flocking kind of out of my way. I don't really want to move it around a whole lot. I just want it off the water, because the only other thing that I want to do left on this base, beyond adding the elementals, or my rock army, is I want to make some lines on the water itself. Basically, I'm going to get some of my white that's already out here on my palette and just water it down some, so that I can just kind of do ripples. And I want this water to be pretty still. So normally I would do... Cora Elizabeth. Normally I would add something on top of this to give it depth. But I don't really need to do that with this one, because I want it to be just slow ripples coming out. Let's see, he's right there. So let's... That brush is a little bit bigger than I want. Ugh, there's like flocking everywhere. Worst day ever. There we go. That's a little better. Ugh.
You said it was free this download, right?
This one, yes. It's not always, like, I had looked at it a while back and I was going to purchase it, and I'm sorry, Ty asked me if this download was free. It is free to download right now. I don't know if it'll stay that way, I guess is what my point is. Okay, so now I have my ripples coming out, and I'm going to leave this flocking mess alone to dry, not blowing into my face. So, one of my favorite things to do, ow, not that, is to take these preformed little grass tufts and cut them just using clippers. Come here. Tweezers help with this. And cut them in half. Most of the time I feel like these are too big. Excuse me. That's an iffy line. And considering that I'm trying to get more artists to give me the rights, I tend to not to like to do things like that. I like to reward the artist and make sure that I can keep doing it, you know? But, you know, especially one of the other things that I can do, like I said, I can always sell my painted jobs. Whether I can sell that mini that's kind of a gray area. I'm not selling you the mini, I'm selling you what I painted. But like Hero Forge, you can go on and you can design your own, and you can buy the file, and then I can print that file for you and sell you that print, but I can't print it for mass production. So I can print, you know, and I've done that already, where I've printed a mini, painted it, and shipped it. I can also just print it and ship it. He just seems like he needs some grass. He's a grassy kind of guy. Is it right there on the arm? Someone told me once that putting on the grass like this is like putting on fake eyelashes. And now I want to try putting on fake eyelashes to see if it's the same. I hate to say it, guys, but I'm getting close to done. So if you're going to post something in Discord, might want to hurry up. Let's see. Yeah, I think right there. And I'm going to do a little bit more dry brushing on his face, just to, because he doesn't really have a face. So I kind of want to pop his face out. Oops. But to me, like, that looks like a face. So I'm just going to do the tiniest little, not with that one, that one's green. Get a little bit more kind of focus on this spot. I've never put on fake lashes. I'm curious, I am, but I also, like, I've watched makeup shows and things like that, and I'm like, looking at that, I didn't, and this is stupid, I understand that, but I didn't actually realize that there was, like, glue involved, and that really kind of scared me away from it. Okay. So little Mr. Wizard looks good. Let's go back and get some highlights on Mr. Turtle. He is so cute. Okay. So, Mr. Turtle is done and ready for his base. So he's just gonna sit right there like that. See how cute? Is he not like the most adorable little thing ever? I'm gonna put a little bit more green back on his face though. Ooh, too much green. That always happens to me. Like, okay, this is done, and then I set it down. Like, oh wait, nope, gotta do something else. There. Mr. Cutie Pie. So, a little bit better base right there. Now he's ready to go on. I don't like how this guy is looking. So what I think I'm gonna do is go really, really bright and go back over him with the wash that I used earlier, just to bring his tone back down. Added a little red paint to the wash as well, because he ended up pretty bright, so I'm going to make him go darker. Yeah, see, that looks better. Then what I'm going to do is just pick out a few little rocks to paint up a little bit more. You guys know I'm fiddling, just trying to give a little extra time for that giveaway. Okay, that looks better. I am inspired by the mundaneness of sewing masks, so I get that. You know what? That's good enough for me, because I'm just happy that you guys really worked on this. So I say yes, that's good. I'm okay without a picture of the mess. I don't want to embarrass anybody. Because me personally, I don't mind if you see the mess on my desk because it's always a kerfuffle. But like Ty would be super embarrassed if I showed you a picture of his desk, so I'm not going to do that.
That can't be done.
So what we are going to do is Ty is going to pull everyone's name that is live on the stream with us right now, and we are going to do that giveaway. And he will take care of that while I am gluing these two guys together. To see how cute that is? He's just riding his little mount. I am out of super glue at the moment. I literally ran out 2 or 3 minutes before we started the stream. So I'm just using my clear Gorilla Glue. Good Lord. All right, so I think Ty is taking care of it. Almost there. He's just delaying.
Make sure they're following if they're not already following.
Make sure you're following if you're not already following. Dude, stand still. There we go. Oh, I need to put his glow on his face. I need to get that done. We have a winner. Do you guys want to do a drum roll or do you just want it announced?
Okay.
Okay.
A drum roll for
There we go. Lulu gave us a drum roll. So the winner of the Forest Guardian, big giant Forest Guardian, roar, is
Wolverine 789.
Wolverine 789. Say hello if you are here. Hello, Wolverine. I need to know, do you want him painted or do you want to paint him yourself or herself? Yourself. Good Lord, never mind. That's what I got. You know what I'm saying. Do you want it painted or do you want it sent as is so that you can paint? Painted. But it's fun. It's okay. And the more you do it, the better you'll get. But I happily paint her for you. I am just using my turtle as a guinea pig to see if I like the glow effect of this particular color. And I do. Okay. Ooh. I know I don't have any flock on me, but I feel like I have it all over me. Okay. I hate how long that takes to dry. So I'm going to hold him and do the glow effect. Just barely touching. I just want the slightest blue tint on his face. There we go. Glow effect done.
That's very nice.
Thank you. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like, that means a lot, and I'm not gonna cry. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna continue what I'm doing. All right, so he's gonna sit. It's the flocking still, like that. Ty, I'm going to make you do a horrible thing. You are going to step outside and get the gun and just lightly dust off.
The blowgun?
Yeah, lightly dust that off, but take that straight outside first. I'm going to blow some of that excess flocking off so that you can see how he'll look on his... There we go. Now I've got him sitting. Ugh, stupid head. Okay, I have to stop touching him. So this is only, all I painted tonight were these 3 pieces. And I haven't even, this is not even, ow, I just got stabbed again. Got all my little army here. So I am going to have loads of fun painting the rest of them, but they are super quick and super easy to paint too. We painted all 3 of these with the... You jerk, I thought you did that in the house. Painted all 3 of these with the same color tones, but they still look like they're still in the same family, but they still, you know. So now you can kind of get, now we got some of that excess off, you can kind of get an idea of how, well, now that flocking is on there, I can't see where I'm supposed to go. There we go. So that is how he's going to look. Blech. I am pretty happy with that. I want to do a little bit of dry brushing on these rocks. Way too much. Thought I had more of that off. And this is why you keep Q-tips. I did figure out one other thing for this stream, and I moved my water and my paper towels off of this table so that when I am trying to clean my brushes, I'm not shaking the entire table. So hopefully that was a little bit better than normal. But this is our 10th stream. I cannot believe I have done this 10 times already. It does not feel like that. No, top down doesn't really do it justice, but here in a minute when I've got these final little details, I'll have Ty switch it over to the big camera and I'll hold it up. Keeping in mind I have to fix the front of the base. Okay. All right, Ty, do you want to switch it over?
I'm sorry, which one?
Switch it over to my camera so that I can hold this up and they can get a good look at it.
Okay.
Oh my God. So, hopefully you can see that. Let's see. Kind of angle it a little bit better. I know it's not everywhere, but it's, I swear it feels like it is. So, there is our little rock army standing by their little pond and enjoying their day. Kind of want a fishy in there now. Is that weird? I actually have a Bob Ross diorama that I'm going to be working on. I don't know when, though. Because all of a sudden masks are... no, Cora, you are not keeping that. I am keeping that. This is my little turtle. Well, I say turtle. This is my little turtle. Roar. But I'm pretty happy how he turned out, too. So, I've got... Ooh, I don't have him glued down yet. I've got little guys that I'm going to finish painting, and then they'll ride inside the little turtle. So, that is going to be it for tonight. Oh, I hear little jingle bells of my little poopy dog. Come here. Come here. Oh, there's my little man. There's my little man. Say hi. Yes. Hello. We almost had a haircut the other day, but it didn't go so well, so we didn't get everything haircut. No, don't lick that. Or that. So, that is going to be it for tonight. Probably next week what I'll end up doing is painting the Forest Guardian that was just given away, so that Wolverine can watch it be painted for him. And if you have any preferences on how it is painted, I would love to hear about it. But that's going to be it from us. Say night-night. It's time to go night-night? Yes? You want to go night-night? Bye, guys.